that's gotta be examined too. You know, how bad do we need, what'd you say, 33 vehicles? You know, can we survive, can we still provide a level of service that's acceptable? You know, fulfilling our needs. Not this one. With fewer vehicles.
Yeah.
So, you know, for me, and I've worked a lot of years with fleet management, we look at every single year, do we need this many vehicles?
Right.
Some years we would increase the number, and other years we decrease.
Well, you know, to that point, the last two on the list are actually surplus and they're ready to be sold.
Right.
So those don't really count as being in our current fleet anymore.
Right.
The third one from the bottom, that 1-ton service bed, that's more of a toolbox and crane than anything else. Right, Fred? So, I mean,
Well, we use it, but it's limited to when it gets used.
yeah,
And it serves its purpose.
we don't need to schedule that one for replacement. By the same token, I wouldn't feel comfortable saying, well, let's just sell it then, because it does serve a purpose.
Sure.
But there may be others that's a legitimate question for.
Okay, any other comments on that? So in summarizing, what I think I heard is that we've got a good start here, that we'll need to massage into the actual physical plan, as JJ has mentioned in his memo, that the physical strategy is the heart of this issue, and I think that's exactly right. And we'll just have to look and see what we can afford, and if that doesn't work out to be what we have and what we need, then something else has to change.
One of the things that you have to look at here too is, you know, you can look and say, well, this is a very reliable vehicle, hasn't cost us very much, maintenance isn't much, serves us need for us to plow the streets, for instance, but there's strategic value to it also.
Right.
When you don't plow the streets, it'll save the city a ton of money. However, what happens with the customer, the resident that doesn't get a street plowed? What happens if somebody has what do we increase the number of accidents in this community because we don't have clean roads? You know, there's a strategic value to those plows too, and those are a little bit hard to justify sometimes. Well, it's hard to justify a vehicle unless you consider some of those strategic values. You know, that we do maintain this community, that we don't break down on the road when we're plowing down the street. We don't want to do that, because that creates a double problem. You don't get the street plowed, yeah, and it does happen, absolutely. You don't get the street plowed, and then you gotta tow it off and get it fixed.
Now, this does not tell me that we would have sufficient funds on an ongoing basis to maintain a fleet of 30 vehicles without, at some point in time, running into a wall.
CIP is the same thing.
Sure it is, but the CIP has a plan behind it. A plan based on replacement values, replacement times, and a financial impact to it. I haven't seen the financial impact of this one.
Well, this has two plans, proactive and passive, doesn't it?
Yeah, but
Are
I
you
don't know if
talking
that's.
about not having a net cost?
Yeah, the vehicle fund.
Because we don't have, the salvage value or the sale value.
Well, we don't know what the increase is here.
Well, but on that same site, we don't know exactly what the new truck is gonna cost.
So I think what I'm hearing is, you like what you see, but there's no commitment to it, which is totally the opposite of what I was hoping to accomplish tonight.
No, what I see is the beginnings of a plan. Basically what you have here is the beginnings of a model of how we would look at vehicle replacement and the physical cost of doing that. But
It has a target.
it doesn't feed itself. It doesn't feed on itself and tell me that it's doable in the context of the expenses that we are going to be running.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you that what does show in the current CIP that was officially adopted as part of the budget, we included a lot of these same costs. The timing might have been slightly different, but we did anticipate replacement of all of these vehicles, different timings. So dollars are in the CIPs for this. Now we've done a lot of extra work to take a more realistic look at what could actually happen. And,
Well, I see in this the data necessary for the model, but I haven't seen the output of the model yet.
Well, I guess my intention on this was that the end result is that we have target years and costs. And again, they're just targets. This is what we're shooting for.
I would still like to know how it compares historically. Does this represent a huge increase or minor increase, no increase? I would like to know how this compares historically.
Okay.
And I think that's part of the data. If we've been spending this amount on the average for the last X number of years for vehicles, does this, as Todd said, does this represent a major step up, step down, or are we going to say that that's the limiting factor? And in fact, what it's going to do is it's going to set the replacement guidelines. I think you can look at it two ways. If you have a stream of money coming in, and this is what traditionally we've been using for vehicle replacement for X number of years, and here's the growth we expect to see in the city, the growth we expect to see in taxes or whatever, and that's what we'll tack on every year. Given that dollar flow is what we have into the future, and this portion is going to be given to vehicles, does that match the replacement plan for these 30 vehicles? Or does this replacement plan, is it too conservative? Or is it too aggressive? I don't know. And see, all we've done here is basically say, yeah, here's some guidelines for how we could do it. I don't know if I total it all up, if it fits. It's just like having, your house budget, and you say, well, yeah, I want to do this and this and replace this, but I don't know if I'm going to have enough money 2 years to do this. I don't want to start this and then run out of money. So, for the most part, I'm doing things the way people want the public to do it, and that's it. You just go buy a ton of credit. See, we can't do that. We have to pay for it, and which means that there has to be years of savings so that there's money there in accounts so that when we need to buy it, money's there. And if we were to have to buy 2 trucks in 1 year, 2 big trucks in 1 year, that'd blow the whole budget. And see, most of our budget, if you really look at it, most of our budget is fixed. It's wages and salaries and fixed expenses that we spend all the time. They're going to be there's so much snow to plow, and the rest of the budget is tied up with this expenditures for assets that depreciate and have to be purchased and have to be on effectively depreciation so that we know that we can keep replacing them.